Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another exciting Arcanum Ventures 10-minute investor eye test. Today, we're going to take a look at BlockGames. It's a cross-game, cross-chain, decentralized player network, accelerating user growth for games with personalized rewards for players. Sasha, how's it going, brother? Do you know anything about BlockGames?
Hey man, doing well. I don't know anything about block games except for the fact that a lot of people are talking about it. I think it's launching, or they've gotten IDO or IEO today or tomorrow,
Yeah.
and it's got a huge social following. So I think this is going to be kind of fun. We haven't taken a look at Web3 gaming in a little while for the investor eye test. So I'm excited to see what's happening in this world. You and I talk to a lot of startups that are working in gaming, but um, yeah, we've been focusing, I think, on AI and other things lately.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we usually choose the projects we end up talking about based off of the demand, and I'm hearing everybody ask for introductions to block games. So you and I were thinking, all right, there must be something to it. Let's see what all the commotion's about. Maybe it's worth an investment, maybe not. So I guess we got to find out today.
Absolutely.
And for those
Yeah,
who,
and so
oh yeah, you got it.
the goal remains the same. Yeah, so we've got 10 minutes on the books. We're taking 10 minutes to look at block games, understand if this is something that we would be interested in investing in. They're launching a token, and identify some green flags or red flags and give our verdicts at the end. So stick around till the end to see our verdicts on block games.
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right, 10 minutes on the clock, starting. Meow. Okay, so we've got crypto rank up here for block games. As you guys can see, I guess there's an IDO active ending today. And so, like you said, Carmelo, Block Games is building a player network with universal player profiles that unlock real data economies. That sounds pretty cool, but I don't really know what that means.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of projects using similar type sentences or words. So let's see what they really mean. Like, obviously, it's cool if you could have a universal gamer tag that you can port across to other games. But, I think a lot of companies are doing that or have done that already. And then, yeah, it looks like a pretty solid cap table. Like, big believers right there. Know quite a few of those guys.
Yeah, Aptos, Maven Capital, Newman, Based VC, Cypher,
Aquanel.
Alex Becker, even. That's interesting.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Alex Becker can do no wrong right now. Everybody just FOMOs into any investment that Alex Becker talks about. So that alone is enough to warrant investing in this. Maybe not financial advice.
Absolutely. And so what I'm seeing here, which is kind of strange, they've raised, I guess, 6 million potentially user reported data, I believe, on CryptoRank in undisclosed round, but they're only offering 75K through Cetify in the IDO. And so they've got a total supply of 1 billion tokens, and we'll see what that kind of looks like here as far as the metrics go. An FDV of 60 million. That's quite high for a gaming infrastructure play, I think. But there's been some companies that have launched recently with much higher ones.
Yeah, that's actually pretty reasonable compared to some of the layer ones and twos that we've been seeing lately.
So they've got a good amount going to ecosystem and community rewards. 17% to investors, which is quite fair. 15% a team, which is a bit high, but depending on the project, it could make sense. So I guess we'll dive into the website when you're ready.
Yeah, ready.
All right. Boom, here we go. Build your universal player profile. Which kind of reminds me of like UBI, Universal Basic Income.
Yeah, UBI for gamers could be that. I mean, I think part of the reason why we saw such a small offering on the Launchpad or Exchange, I can't remember. Maybe they're doing some sort of airdrop, so they are doing UBI in a sense. And they got a pre-sale dashboard, which is
Ooh,
interesting. They're on Google Play and App Store, which is encouraging as a player or
yeah.
investor. So that's pretty cool. I mean, they're well connected. I don't know what they want you to download, but I guess
This website is wild, man. Wait, what did this say? Block token is at the center of the Block Games player network, connecting all value exchange between games, dApps, and players. So it sounds like the token is simulating what like an actual network or like a layer one or layer two would be. I wonder if that's really the case, or if they're using the token as like an absolute payment barrier access model.
yeah, I'm sure it's more of the latter. I don't think they actually need this to create the infrastructure. Maybe it's just like a list or a roster of games that are connected, but looks like they do have an airdrop. I don't know what Lucky Rolls community
Yep.
presale is, but I think that probably means they have a large community because these questing or quest apps like Zealy or Galaxy or whatever you want to call them, they have pre-sale quests, so you kind of have to earn your allocation as a public sale person, which is like honestly a better way to launch probably than a launch pad. It gets the most
Yeah,
eager
for sure.
people in early.
Yeah, I mean these are I'm assuming Lucky Rolls is some sort of like gamified community based draw for token earnings.
Yeah,
But question mark on TGE. I guess we're not really sure when that's happening. Airdrop season. I hope they're structuring their airdrop appropriately, maybe targeting people that have demonstrated on chain that they like gaming. Always a good method of getting some people on board, but also like a blanketed airdrop's good for creating hype. So
it
good to use
looks
both strategies.
it looks more like a proof of marketing airdrop, if anything. I don't know if like maybe they're going to
Mm.
give you some reward for downloading, or I don't know if they have any games live already, but it looks more like a marketing thing so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Engage points, social points. Okay, so maybe not targeting users. And then lucky rolls. Yeah, so tickets, kind of like gamifying this, a lottery.
Yeah.
And I guess they've got a couple of things they mentioned already. Dice. I'm not sure what dice is, but they also mentioned points in the airdrop. So I guess they've got a couple of maybe like off-chain point systems and whatever they're building right now.
Yeah, and you sort of need these tactics or maybe even gimmicks to launch
Uh,
marketing campaigns these days. Like people need to be incentivized one way or another. And what's a better incentive than giving rewards and money or even allocations, which don't cost the company anything?
This is true. It looks like dice are referring to an NFT collection that they have, but at the same time, it says the more dice and the higher the multiplier you own, the more allocation you will get. So I'm assuming dice is not referring to their universal player profiles. It's just a fungible, non fungible token, maybe.
Could be. Yeah, it's a little bit unclear, but definitely a lot of thought has gone into this. Maybe not this part. It's just absolute gibberish.
I
uh,
wonder, I can't read binary. I wonder what that says, though.
probably maybe it's an Easter egg for to get the crowd hungry.
Wow. Well, that's it, I guess. I mean, honestly, pretty cool website. I like the commitment to like creating a lot of social buzz through these programs. This is always great to see like this type of creative marketing and airdrops. I guess I'm not going to say unfortunately, but it seems like it's solely catered towards creating social buzz, which might be why we're seeing all of this buzz on Twitter and everywhere else. Should we dive into the white paper, see what the token's all about?
Yeah, let's go. We only got a few minutes left, so not a lot of time to learn about it.
Not a lot, right? So they're building a player network with universal player profiles. I'm going to call them UPPs that unlock real data economies. This new paradigm empowers the next wave of innovative publishing applications and gaming experiences driven by rewards. So it sounds maybe like a portable gaming network that can be brought into games, maybe within their ecosystem or built on their social layer.
Yeah, I mean, I
But
think
yeah,
that
interesting.
the real value there would be sort of like if you think about Amazon, not as an e-commerce hub, but a software company that sells data. So maybe their ultimate play is selling gamer data back to developers to help them inform how to create the next wave of games. Because that's potentially lucrative. I don't know why we need more gaming hubs. So in my mind, that would be a smart thing to focus on. But I'm not sure what they mean by data-driven economies.
I'm not sure. It seems kind of like
Yeah,
misplaced lingo if you think about this as targeting gamers. But I think this is something that a lot of companies have been trying to tackle, especially in the world of esports, is like creating these profiles for gamers that they can, port over into different game economies and game ecosystems. So it's a big challenge in a competitive market, but we know that they've got a lot of social hype. So maybe they will end up being a front leader, but they've got rewards. So I guess you can create your profile and earn rewards for sharing data, making transactions, and using connected applications. So that's obviously going to drive demand to applications that are working with BlockGames. And then modular integration. It's essentially like an API or an SDK that you can port into any existing games, which is good on the B2B side. It means they're
yeah.
trying to make it easier for games to kind of like port that in. That
Definitely,
makes sense.
definitely a need for that. What I'm wondering is how they make money though, because they need to reward their users and basically buy the data from the users. So somebody has to be on the demand side for that, right? Like I don't know who's paying them for this data, maybe gaming companies or Web3 game companies, but there hasn't been so much information about that.
Not at all. And it looks like the website's quite slow. I'm not sure if this is loading or not, but we want to take a look at the block token, and I guess maybe we can make some guesses or assumptions at what the token use cases could possibly be. I'm going to click on this link and hope it loads. But it sounds like the token might be used as like an access model and maybe a rewards mechanism. That makes sense. If the token is being used to grant rewards to people that create universal player profiles, and then they've got like a strong B2B business model that's bringing in revenue, or it's bringing in some form of assets from partner projects that they can then funnel value back into their token to like offset those rewards. That can be scalable. But if it's just rewards heavy and there's not a lot of revenue, it's definitely something that's concerning.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably most likely like a transaction medium. I don't know if they're going to have their own marketplace. There's a lot of unanswered questions here, so it would be nice to see this, but I guess it doesn't want to load for us.
Boom, we are back. I guess there were some issues with the BlockGames Git book, which is kind of strange. But you know what? We're not cheating, but we're gonna put a couple minutes back on the clock and take a look at the token utilities because this is important for everyone to see. So with that being said, 2 minutes back on the clock, starting meow. Carmelo, you want to take a stab at this one first?
Wow, it's our first ever bonus overtime session. Okay, so esports identity and reputation. I don't know what that means. Utilizes verified achievements from esports events to help players build their esports career. All right, that's pretty interesting. So, kind of like a more organized
Hmm.
pipeline to become a professional gamer. Get out of mom's basement and become an actual athlete. I don't know if you could call them athletes, but let's call them athletes. User acquisition. Innovative user acquisition tools provide targeted, rewarded experiences based on universal player profiles, such as rewarded play. So that sounds like a fancy roundabout way of saying play to earn. Uh, but,
Yep.
but where does this earn rewards bucket come from? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's a good question. I don't know how they're going to use a token for bot prevention and security. And to be honest, none of this text looks like it really refers to the token itself. Obviously, engagement. We know that they're chasing engagement with airdrops and other sort of like social media marketing, personalization and monetization. I think that's quite obvious. Feedback and testing tool. So I guess an access model for early access is pretty cool. And then potentially rewarding people for feedback. This is a great use of a decentralized currency
Yeah.
for crowdsourcing labor or consensus. But and then I guess cross game interoperable identity. Again, I don't know how the token actually fits into that. That's more of like their player profiles, right?
Yeah, I wonder if they could port it. Maybe they have some partners that they can port their identity over to, not just BlockGames titles, but titles with partners. That would make a lot of sense because if you're
Hmm.
limiting gamers in esports to your own ecosystem, then you you got to have a pretty impressive roster of games to keep up, I guess.
Yeah, that is true. And at the same time, this is. Oh no, there's the 2 minutes. Um, you know what? Let's cheat a little bit more. We already cheated. We already committed a crime. Let's just commit Grand Theft Auto now. And so this is interesting though. I'm seeing there's two different assets. I'm assuming because this dollar sign ticker
Hmm.
block is the on-chain token, and then X block, a non-transferable token, and its utility is focused on unlocking a variety of benefits across applications connected to BlockGames. So that sounds like an off-chain point system with the same ticker ID, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think they're doing like one-to-one redemptions on and off chain, so these are always worth the same amount of value. One interesting thing I saw somewhere was that this was an ERC20 Ethereum token, which maybe is the reason behind this system because if anybody that knows or has launched a Web3 game knows that Ethereum by itself is not a sustainable ecosystem for a game. All these little microtransactions are too costly on Ethereum, so you need either a layer 2 network or a layer 3 or something like this. And maybe this is the reason for X block. It's pretty interesting, but a little bit uh, weird. I don't know how you can always guarantee one to one.
Well, it says here, it can be exchanged for varying rates and waiting periods,
Hmm.
and then it's used to reward all network participants for growing the player network through player data rights, reads, and interactions.
Okay.
And so I guess that's an interesting thing. Let's go ahead and wrap it up and give our verdicts. I think that's a lot to break down. But before we do, make sure if you like this content, you tap that like button, subscribe. We've got more videos coming out. We've got more. We've got actually a couple of interesting Boom Room interviews coming up as well. So throw us a follow if you're feeling it. And Carmelo, do you want to dive in first, or would you like me to?
Yeah, I can dive in. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet because I don't want to keep these good people waiting. But I usually don't like games or gaming infrastructure as an investor. I know I'm kind of contrarian there, but I do see value here. They're doing something unique, and they at least know how to talk about what they're building in a kind of innovative and interesting way compared to some of the other gaming platforms we see that are just saying we're the Steam of Web3 and we're the best, and we're not going to tell you why we're the best, but we are. So these guys, I think they have an interesting plan. They want to bring value back to game developers by the look of it. I would give it a thumbs up in the sense that I want to look more into it. I want to learn more about it. I want to see why it's so hyped, and I don't want to believe that it's just because they have good marketing. Maybe there's something to it that we haven't seen yet. I would like for sure to see what titles they're working with, what games they're working with, who their partners are. I don't know if they're working with just Web3 games or any kind of games, but that will make or break any platform. It's kind of like a blockchain. You are only as good as whoever decides to build on your ecosystem or in your ecosystem. So that they got to show something more there. I don't think they've done a good enough job. That being said, we didn't even look into the app because I don't know what that looks like yet. I don't want to create a profile just yet. But yeah, I want to learn more. I want to see who the team is because we didn't see who the team was. So there's a lot we can learn. The token economy information is sufficient. I'm glad that they had enough information for us to digest there. So yeah, want them up.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think I share the same sentiment as well. I think there's definitely something or some merit behind all of the hype. There's got to be a reason why a lot of people are talking about it, and I think that would be uncovered most likely within doing some research on the team and also understanding like what games are already on board and planning on using the UPPs or universal player profiles. I think this is something that is maybe necessary or will eventually happen in the world of Web3 gaming or gaming in general.
Hmm.
These universal player profiles that can serve as tethers between traditionally competing businesses, but it is a huge challenge. And so understanding who's on board already and their backers is going to be a great indicator of whether this is a success. As far as the token economy goes, it seems like it's quite rewards heavy and emissions heavy, which means it can be inflationary with users coming on board. The concept of using the X block versus the block token on chain, although it seems like it was presented as something new or novel, this is not something new that we've seen before. In fact, it's just an inflationary off-chain currency that serves as a buffer to limit emissions or inflation on the utility token that's being used for fundraise. And so we've seen this before. We've actually designed some of these tokenomic systems before where there's, let's say redemption windows to convert points into on-chain tokens at maybe some variable rate. And so what this does is essentially dangle a carrot in front of your users' faces to help them understand, like, if I keep contributing, then maybe there's some gamified chance that I can redeem rewards and sell them for some sort of monetary value for my contribution. That can be good. Some of the risks there include potentially bringing on people that are like focused on gains within a GameFi economy versus the actual gameplay itself. So it can bring on potentially yield farmers that like kind of crashed Axie Infinity back in the day. But overall, I think it's pretty cool. I like it. One thumbs up. I definitely want to learn more and see what's going to happen with BlockGames going to market. Best of luck on the IDO coming up on Seedify. That's very exciting. And there you have it. One thumb up each from your boys at Arcanum Ventures. I think this is a good one to keep an eye out for. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure, again, you tap that like button if this content interests you, and stick around because we've got more content coming very soon. 10 minutes in the books on BlockGames. Ciao, y'all. Pew.